Hey.
Hey, how doing?
What's up? How are you?
I'm good. I've just been trying to stay cool because it's been so hot today.
Yeah, same. The heat.
It's insane. I'm like, oh, I'm not ready for this. But it's been, for example, it's been getting a lot hotter in San Diego. So yeah,
Yeah, and you guys are next to the water, so technically it should be a little cool over there, right?
yeah. Well, I'm more inland, so like I don't really get the breeze that much. But
Gotcha.
I got the fan. That's the only thing. But yeah.
Yeah, we're all out here in this heat. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the live. We got Pebblz with us today on Big Ol' Herstory.
Let's see. I just try to finish my notes for this, so I'm gonna try not to look at it. But yeah, it's there. It's there.
All good, all good. I got some notes too. I know we like to be prepared. All right. We have some people in the lines, so we'll just get started.
Awesome. Okay.
All right. Hey, Cypress State is here. All right, so we got B Girl Pebblz. I'm Mantis, for those of you who don't know me. And yes, it is gonna be fire. And I run B Girl Herstory. Pebblz is repping Cypress State, and she's from San Diego. And I'm excited for this. I hope you guys enjoy it too and learn some stuff. What's up, Ashley? Hey, Mikey, how you doing? All right. So, Pebblz, tell us a little bit about yourself, like how you got started in breaking. How old were you when you started, and like who taught you?
Okay. Sick. So I'm bigger Pebbles Love. Also my love. And I started breaking when I was seven. Yeah, 7 years old. And who taught me though was Dino Rock, also from Cypress State. But also my crew, which I could like kind of dive deeper in because a lot of people don't really know what Cypress State used to be. So my crew used to be called Cypress City Kings, and that was with Kinesi, Jules, Cake, a lot of like other folks that I'm like trying to remember because b-boy names and regular names. But yeah, Alan and like everybody that's already on Cypress State. Yeah, we used to call CCK, and that was my crew back then. And as a young kid, looking up to them, they were just all my teachers, and they had so much to offer. Yes, Alan. They had so much to offer and learn from. Be it like either the skills, the foundation, knowledge. But those were mainly my teachers. But yeah, I was so inspired by them because they were in the ciphers. So yeah, I went to a jam one time when I was super young, and it was my first jam. And I remember seeing them like just be running in the ciphers with Rock So Fresh, and obviously Dino being my teacher, I would just like gravitate a lot towards them. So yeah, I just saw them dance and stuff, and like be able to be like free and express who they are in this dance. So that's kind of just what I really attracted to. And now we're just Cypher State, and we do what we do, rock the ciphers, so yeah.
Shout out to the Cypress State and all of Pebblz teachers. What?
Yeah.
Um, so who brought you to your first jam? Was it Dino or was it your mom or?
Yeah, it was Dino, but also it was Sumo from Rock So Fresh. I like bumped into him randomly at the mall, and he was like, "Hey, like there's this thing going down, da da da," and we kind of just like checked it out, and then that's when I saw Dino, and I was like, "Hey," and then so that's kind of like how it happened.
And
But yeah.
well, do you remember the first time you ever saw breaking?
First time I ever saw breaking, um, I don't really remember exactly to like pinpoint, but I know like for sure like it was either like via like movie or like something like that. But I've always seen it around just because I grew up with like listening to like hip hop music and it would just be in the videos and stuff like that. And obviously, when I took a class, it was Dino's class, and that was my first class. So it kind of just like went through there, and we ended up leaving like the studios, and just really just like practicing in my house, and we would just like do that instead. So yeah.
So what drew you to breaking? Because I know there are a lot of people that get into dance and they start to get on the floor and they're like, no, I don't know about this, you know?
Yeah.
They want to stay up top. They like the up top styles and so it takes a certain character to want to get down on the floor. What drew you to that?
I think mainly just being able to like be free and not really care what other people are doing or what other people think. I think that's like super cool. And I think the most raw thing though was like when I was ciphering, like it would feel like no one's there and it's just like all I know is just like just create, like just do whatever. And that kind of just like instantly like fell in love with that aspect is just being able to move the way you do and have a conversation with it. And I think that's super cool. And also just breaking just looks dope. Like breaking
Yeah,
looks
no, I
dope.
agree.
And shit, the style people be wearing definitely attracted me to that. And I'm like heavily into like fashion. So like seeing how people dress in the ciphers and stuff like that, I just always like been like, dang, I want to do that. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. I love that you mentioned that there's like a response part of breaking. You know, you see what someone does and then you try to up it or change it and it's a little different from some other styles.
Yeah, exactly.
So what made you want to start competing? Was it just something that was kind of organic, or you saw, you know, the contest happening and you were like, man, I want to get down and do that?
Um, I think it kind of started off as like crew battles. So, obviously to rep with your crew is like a huge thing. Like being able to like battle with your like teachers is like honestly like one of the most happiest moments I've ever
Yeah.
had. Every time I battle with my crew, I'm always like excited and like it feels really like sick. Like, oh dang, it's happening. But like, I think also like with battling naturally, I feel like battling have always had this aspect of like a warrior essence, and that just comes from my roots. I feel like being Japanese and Filipina, like my history with that of always like having that warrior personality kind of like embeds in my battling style as well. So like being able to uh kind of incorporate that type of like mentality with battling is kind of cool. So I think about it like that. But yeah, also battling has always been something I've been nervous to do when I was young. So like even going by myself, I was like, oh no, like but one thing though is having my crew behind me has always been like helpful and stuff like that. So
Oh
yeah.
no, for sure. When you have your crew, your family behind you, and they're rooting for you, and they're like, yo, you know, you got to do this or do that, or yo, you got them, just go down and have fun, or it definitely brings an extra level of confidence and knowing that you have people that are behind you that have your back. So I hear that. I loved crew battles because there was this like, you know, working together that that always appealed to me,
Hmm.
coming out with your family, you know.
Yeah.
So I know when we were in New York,
Hmm.
uh, we got together and we started talking, and we talked about the competitions and we talked about like mindset, you know, and Um, it really hit me the way you said it, because you were like, I don't remember exactly what you said, but for me, it was there was a thing about training your mindset. You know, when everybody talks a lot about how we train, meaning like physically, you know, training your moves, training push-ups and whatever when you go to the gym. And I haven't heard a lot of people talk about training your mind to be mentally ready. You know, we talk about being mentally prepared in the battle, and or you know, when you get down in a cipher and just knowing who you are, knowing the confidence you have in your moves, and in just being you
Mhm.
within your dance. But that's something that we have to work at, because not everybody has that confidence. And I feel like it's something that breaking brings to a lot of people and helps us grow in, if that's something that you've had a problem with it or struggled with, you know. So how did you how did you deal with that? Or because like you said, it was scary at first, you know. And I think especially as a young person in breaking with all these um, you know, you go to a jam and is different from other things, because you can see your the people that you look up to in person. So
Yeah,
it could either be intimidating or inspiring, and depending on who you are, you know, um, that it can be different. So yeah, so how did you deal with that? Did you have people that helped you with your mind state?
uh, yeah, I honestly think everybody has always been has ever felt nervous, which is like really really natural, and I feel like a lot of people don't really like normalize that. Like it's okay to be scared, you know, like it's normal, like it's okay. But I feel like with like mental training and like what you were talking about earlier about how we physically train but we lack mental training. I think like I said, I grew up um having these deep conversations about mental health in my family, and I'm not a lot of people always do, so it might be new to people, but I'm also like learning, so like I love to like listen and see how I could better myself mentally and physically. So running back to that statement is the part where we talk about balancing the physical and the mental. And I think the most important part is understanding that they all intersect. They all intersect. And like for example, when I get like mental breakdowns, because your girl does, I usually like have to understand how like psychologically like how I am, and like really like master the idea of how I can calm myself down. So it's really like, for example, I'm gonna like run through a battle right now. So like let's say it's finals, right? And I'm feeling really nervous, like kind of second guessing myself, whatever, right? Since I'm mental trained, I know and I understand how my body works. So I know what's triggering this anxiety. I know how to make sure I could snap lock in right before the battle. So it's like kind of like that, where you like really understand how your body works, how you're mentally working, like, and also how strong your mental is, right? And I think doing that, how to get there, is really just like being really present um, with your environment, with the situation, like, and I think the word that I'm trying to find is critical thinking. When I was young, breathing techniques, like things like that I used to do. So like that, you could do that, or you just like live life and you just understand how things work. It's really just being present, like understanding that, and getting to know yourself. I will touch on that, which is like developing just critical thinking. So I don't know if anyone knows what that is, but I'll try to explain it on what I know, at least.
Yeah.
But critical thinking is just like really smart analyzing. It involves your values, and it also involves just the way you like see things, right? It might, yeah, like a perspective. It's like building a really strong perspective, I guess. But yeah, I utilize critical thinking in a lot of things that I do, especially battling, especially on decisions I make. It's also, I guess you could say, strategy. So yeah, all that involves with breaking and battling. So yeah.
So like if you're in an event, right? And you started, you started feeling anxiety or whatever, like what things did you do? Um, did you just stop and you were like, let me get out of here and let me start taking in deep breaths? Did you talk to yourself? Or yeah, like how did you figure that out for yourself? Because everyone's different, right? Like you said. So for some people, a breathing technique will work, right? For other people, they'll be like, nah, I gotta get an ice bottle and I gotta put that on my neck so I snap out of, whatever
Yeah.
thing it is. Some people are like, yo, I'm gonna slap myself down because it's gotta be a physical thing. Other people, I don't know, need to like talk to somebody. I've seen some people put music in their ears.
Yeah.
So what is it? What is it for you in particular?
Oh, for me personally, well, me personally, I like kind of like have this like mantra in my head sometimes, or I will like prep talk myself. I feel like, especially with the whole Olympic stuff, like I've been traveling by myself, um, so it was really hard for me to travel by myself. I'm always with like my family, my crew. So, especially on my first Olympic battle, I'll talk about that because it did happen. I kind of like was really sad. It just like missed my family a lot. And so for me to snap back into it because I was about to battle, for me to do that, I just like kind of prep talk myself like how I usually, or like how my mom would usually prep talk me. So my mom has always been a heavy like inspiration when it comes to like being able to like connect mental health with breaking and like understanding two and two. So like yeah, I just pretended like my mom was there and she was just speaking to me. So that kind of just like calmed me down. And then I had to do my mantra where it's like whatever you come up with, like it could be like just be you because that's the best you can do, you know? And like doing something like that, really simple, really easy, and like lock in. And that's just kind of what happened. But yeah.
Mm. I know I remember you told me the story about this one time that you were at an event and you totally got in your head and your mom snapped you out of it. And I really love that because like we said, I haven't had that many conversations about people who talk about what it's like to freak out when when you get to an event and I don't know, you're at the finals or wherever it is and you just get in your head, right? Like maybe it's like I'm not as good as that other person or whatever. Everyone's got their own little thing, and she took you on the side and she was like, snap out of it.
Yeah.
Or I forget what it was. How did that go?
It it went perfectly because I won Red Bull LA 2019.
Right,
I
that
was
was the
I
one.
saw and I was like, and then my mom just like snapped me out of it. And you know what, sometimes you're not gonna remember what they're gonna say. You just know in the moment it happens, whatever triggers that moment for you to like really like lock in is what's important. I do want to talk about too, the part where how much mental health does affect you physically. And I think I didn't know that until like recently how big of an effect it does. Like for example, you could train all your moves, you know, and if you're not mentally like you're like mentally messy in your head, none of those moves are going to be executed because you're not present. And I think that was one of the biggest things I learned is how to be mentally present and how to kind of execute that while I battle.
Mm.
And I think um before I used to not be able to kind of be strong in that. But now it's been like really good and it's been like working for me a lot. So
Yeah,
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 just
you've been doing
Thank
amazing.
you. Thank you so much. And you too, likewise. So that's why I think it's dope too, um, to be able to have that ability to really show up for yourself. Because that's what it is, really, is to understand how to acknowledge your mental health and to know where you're at and adapt. I think adapting was the main thing I learned when I was young, was how to adapt. And it's definitely a survival thing too. But yeah, I think that's really good to be able to have, is that ability to adapt, to know yourself, what to
Hmm.
do, take care of yourself, and especially when you're in the battle, you know, even though you might be with other people, it's on you too. So yeah, I think that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. When your mind's right, you have an easier time like reacting to the music and like you said, being present and expressing yourself and enjoy yourself. Because I think when you're enjoying yourself in the moment, everybody else can see that, you know, it's on your face, it's in your body, it's in the way you navigate the circle or the stage. So yeah, for sure. And if your mind is not there, you're not comfortable in who you are or in your body, that can be really tough uh
Yeah.
to express.
Hmm. Especially with the comfortability, you're not gonna always be comfortable. I
Right.
think that's what I had to accept, is that I'm not always gonna feel it. Like at jams, like
Yeah.
always gonna feel like, oh, I'm gonna win this. But
Mhm.
it's like, how are you gonna get to that if you're
Right.
not? Because you don't want to
Right.
go to a jam
Like if they don't
like,
play the
like
song you like and
nothing about it. Like you gotta figure out how to like get into that energy,
yeah.
and that involves you knowing yourself, knowing how to navigate with that,
Hmm.
like being able to, yeah,
Right. Like
yeah.
you said, adapt. If something's not going your way, maybe you're battling your crewmate
Oh, I hate,
or someone you like, or maybe someone you
yeah.
really don't like, or they play the wrong song, or the floor is messed up, and all of those things. Yeah, you got to be able to adapt.
Hmm.
And in your head, you have to be able to, like you said,
Control.
yeah, like turn it on. I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna make all of
Yeah,
this work for me.
exactly. And also when I was younger, one of the organizers, community organizers, I grew up with, DJ Cutting Candy. She's always told everybody to also like fuck with the gray areas, like being able to be uncomfortable and knowing what to do when that happens. And I think also, like you said, when battles become emotional, how do you like control that? And it's
Yeah,
strong right here.
yeah,
So, yeah, I think it's really important. And it's also really dope to be able to have that. Cause it just like, I don't know, it's like it's cool to be able to control, even though you can't always control everything, but you,
right. You can control yourself and how you react to things. Yeah,
exactly.
100%. So, um, all right. So we talked about mind state, right? Um, so breaking for gold. How's that been? I know you said you've been traveling around on your own. I know it's been hard for a lot of the competitors who've been able to do breaking for gold, and I feel like it's really different from like local jams
Oh,
and all this other stuff. It's a whole other world, you know. So yeah, how's it been with that? And
um, it's been dope. It's been dope. I think, like obviously before, if you really knew me and you had a conversation with me before, you would not think I would be doing this. Like it was definitely a different pathway, and I feel like everybody has their own definition of, you know, what this means for them, what this means for hip hop, what this means for, you know, the culture. And for me, especially, I think the culture has always been something I've always been more attracted to. Breaking for Gold is definitely really different. And that's why I said, coming into the conversation, adapting is so important because that's what I've been doing is adapting because I'm so used to like, ciphering,
Right.
and we don't have ciphers. So it's
Mm-mm.
like, what the hell do I do? So
Yeah.
it's kind of like that a little bit. You kind of just have to find what works for you. But one thing too is with Breaking for Gold, yeah, I used to not been so like inspired to do it until sorry, there's a check. Until like recently where I've been like, you know what? I'm gonna do me on all platforms. Don't matter if it's a cipher, don't matter if it's underground battle, doesn't matter if it's like on TV, whatever. Like I think on any platform you're mainly gonna see Pebblz and that's it, and the one thing the reason why also I do want to talk about this part too, because when I was also young and in my organization, Asian Solidarity Collective, I learned this thing called POP, which I don't know if you know what that is.
No.
Do you know?
Tell us about it.
POP is basically purpose, outcome, and process. So
Mm.
three things that involve like the whole mental health training, da da da. So like my mom told me before I did the Olympics, because I told them this. I told my I said once I get into this Olympics stuff, like the number one thing I'm gonna really need to take care of is this mental health because I know I'm gonna get so caught up. It's so easy to get caught up, and
Yeah.
that's why pop is so important because it really grounds you to remember why you're even doing what you're doing. It's
Mm-hmm.
your purpose, and then the outcome. What is your goal for what you're doing? Like
Yeah.
really, I'm a really like I like to foresee things. I love that. I love to always see the future even though I'm practicing more on like being present and enjoying like the moments, but
Yeah.
I'm always doing, overthinking a little bit. But but yeah, always think about your outcome, focus on that, and then your process. I think process is the main thing that I've been working on is how you're gonna get there. What does that look like? What are the steps you're gonna take?
Mm-hmm.
So process is really like understanding and humanizing yourself because you're not a robot. I'm not a robot. I'm not going to produce all this product, like all the moves that you're seeing, like those take like time, like,
Yeah.
So I feel like having that pop before doing Breaking for Gold was so, so, so important because I did get caught up a little bit to the point where I didn't really know how to like battle normally. Like, I just like was so caught up in like, what is everyone else doing? How to look like everybody else.
Mm.
Because obviously when I first went in, I wasn't sure if they would like my style. I'm not like the biggest powerhead in the world, like,
Yeah.
I kind of had to understand what my goal was, which was really to show up and like just be able to like conversate with what I have. And also I knew that if I did Breaking for Gold, it would push me so hard to get better constantly. Like you constantly gotta, you know be in a different environment, see different people,
Mm-hmm.
and it kind of just pushed me really hard to like elevate. And I think
Yeah.
best decision and what really made me like want to keep going with it is that part of being able to like um show up and be uncomfortable and
Yeah.
like how to make it your playground, because at the end of the day that's just kind of what it was for me was, oh, like, I was so used to the sandbox, now I gotta get used to the slide,
Mm-hmm.
so
Mm-hmm.
you just gotta play with it and honestly have fun, because at the end that's the most important, is having fun, being able to do what you love in such a beautiful way, inspiring way. So yeah, that's what my purpose was really for the Olympics, was to also meet new people and travel the world, because who doesn't want to do that?
Right.
So, I really wanted to like meet other people, break with other people, and elevate through life and through breaking.
That's
Yeah,
awesome. I love, I feel like part of that, part of the reason why you want to do that was to challenge yourself, and you're doing it and you're making it happen. And I find that very inspiring, you know, and I think that's going to inspire a lot of people too. Um, I think it's really important what you said about wanting to challenge yourself and step into spaces that feel uncomfortable. And yes, pop, because that that you can take that and bring it into any other aspect of your life. And I feel like there's so many things in breaking, especially the part where you challenge yourself and put yourself in uncomfortable situations, and that little nugget will make you grow in so many other areas. Whether you're going to another job or going to school or focusing on another dance form or art form or anything else. Um, that's how you grow, right? So
exactly.
so so and like how are you balancing that, like that part of your dance life along with, you know, because it's like there are a lot of highs and lows when it comes to like traveling um overseas and doing all those events and then coming back to training and then little local jams. It's like the highs and lows are extreme sometimes, you know, so how do you balance all of that?
I mean, for a good minute, I was going at it. I was like back to back. Like I remember coming from like Chile to like Red Bull LA. Like it was just like a lot and a lot. And I think I didn't prioritize myself enough to the point where I just almost got like, what's it called? Like gassed out. Like
Yeah, burnout.
burnout is definitely a
Oh,
thing.
oh yeah, no, that's a real thing.
I was
I've
like,
been feeling that recently too. It's real.
I underestimated it.
I'm sure there's
But
a lot of people in this chat room who can agree with that or
yeah,
yeah.
burnout is not the best. But I will say though, doing that, yeah, so there would be times where I would come home only for like a week and then I gotta go. Every weekend I had to go, and it was always on the move. And we were either flying, traveling, driving. But the flying part, oh my God, it was to the point where I low key was traumatized to be on a plane. I was like, oh, not again.
With the
But
like, the time zones or the
I'm so thankful to even be able to do that. Thanks to like, my community, my fam, and like the people that have been able to like, sponsor and like help me out doing that. Like thank you so much. But yeah, like it gets tiring. But at the end of the day, like I just keep understanding how to like mentally be there for myself, show up and really like breathe. I think that's the most important part is breathing and understanding how to breathe through a lot of things and flow through. But yeah, balancing all that. I mean, it's fun. It's fun in the beginning, and then like towards the end where you want to be able to show up for other things too. Um, I kind of struggle. I struggle with that. So like I also like do acting and modeling, and with the whole like Olympics, it's kind of hard for me to travel and do the things that I do too. So it's kind of been like also telling myself that it all intersects, like it all happens for a reason, and whatever will lead me to it. And I think that's just where I've been, because I'm the type of person to want to do everything at once. Like I love to do like so much stuff in my life that sometimes like I just need to just really zone in and focus on one thing, because it's all gonna lead into it, So yeah, I honestly am doing the Olympics right now. So I'm doing that. I'm training. I'm just like trying to elevate myself in breaking and stuff. And one thing too I will always say is that hip hop will lead you to a lot of things. I think a lot of people don't like really like emphasize on that. Like I've met so many people. I met so many directors, like photographers, like you could name it, all through hip hop. And that's why I've been so thankful for the culture and just being able to like build with people. And that's why I've been so focused on like traveling and stuff like that. And battling is because I always meet people. And that was mainly one of the reasons why I do what I do.
So what are some of the other things you're into? Because I see Odin Rockton said, I saw you in a movie. I think I've seen the one that he's talking about, you
Yeah,
know. So yeah, so because I
maybe.
know you're into a lot of other stuff, so tell us what's
Yeah,
other
I mean,
interest.
I love to do acting. I love to model. I also love, like I said in the beginning, fashion. So I like to like make my own clothes. And you know, I do a lot of things. I like to dabble in a lot of art. I think I'm just an overall artist. At this point, it is like I try to do as much art forms as I can. And I think it's also because growing up, my mom always told me like, make nothing, make something out of nothing. Like being able to survive. And also, one of the survival tactics she taught me was like, if you learn a lot of art forms and a lot of things, like no one's gonna stop you. Like
Mhm.
no one could ever like you will never find yourself empty handed when you have a lot of things on hand. You know what I mean? So
Yes, yes,
like shoot, I'm a designer, I'll
yeah,
do it all, you know? So like
yeah.
you
You
can
feel
work
fulfilled.
on nothing. Exactly.
Yeah,
So shout out to my mom. Always teaching me that.
yeah. Shout out to mom.
But yeah, that's kind of just what I do. Other than that, I love to break. I think breaking is not necessarily I see as a career. You could definitely do breaking as your career, but for me, breaking is just like the way I breathe. I think that's really um the way I move. That's just what it is, and I do it because I love it. And but yeah, that's why I break in that.
Yes, that's Maya. So I'm gonna see. I want to see if anybody in the chat has any questions. Let's see if anyone has anything they want to know. Let's see. We still have 12 people in the chat. People have been in and out, peeking in, hanging out.
But yeah,
Yeah,
I what's it called when we talked because we battled each
yeah,
other.
we did.
So actually, I wanted to kind of know. Oh, hi, Carrie. I wanted to know like what was your mindset at like that when we were battling?
Honestly, I think when we went up against each other, it was almost the end. So I was so tired. I didn't, I was not thinking about like, am I gonna win or who's gonna get, I didn't care about any of that. I was like, all right, let's go. Me and Pebblz are cool. We're just gonna get down and I'm gonna
Yeah,
dance however I feel to this music. That New York one was one of the few times that I wasn't overthinking. I was still nervous, but I wasn't overthinking it. And yeah, and I just had a good time. I don't usually enjoy competitions or contests, but I do it because I want to challenge myself because I know that I struggle with it. So yeah, that it's always me jumping into the deep end when I do that. So yeah, that one was fun.
I'm
How did you feel?
for real. I'll be so honest. I when I battled you, I was like, oh my god, it's SD versus New York. It's West Coast versus East Coast.
Let's go. Yes, it was.
Yeah, no,
It totally was.
that was so dope. Honestly, that was like my favorite battle of that night was because it was that like, and the way you are, the way I am, and our like values are similar. So I think that's why it's super
Hmm.
cool to see that and have that in such a platform event. To see two people from rooted deeply in the culture
Yeah,
and our mentors, our teachers,
yeah.
dope, you know, and like and our styles are just like, you know.
Hmm.
So I really dope. But yeah,
I
I know
think
that.
that
Oh, let me get to it. Let me get to it.
how far. Wait, I just
I'm dead. It says
where
birth of
the
2000.
2000s
Look,
at?
are in the lab. Are in the lab. Okay, they're in the lab.
Buffering.
Like,
They're still buffering. She's working on
got
them.
you
How far do you want to take your art?
as far as I get. honestly, I feel like I'll always be doing art. Like, be it when I'm super old, I'm gonna be in my backyard painting. Like, that's the type of
Yeah, when you're 80,
I
right?
grew up. I mean, honestly, I grew up with art. Art was just like since preschool, and I'm going to an art school. Shout out Zamorano, Southeast SD. Let's go, PH. But yeah, that's just like I was always surrounded by art. And fun fact, I never grew up with a TV. All I grew up was with art by my
Nice.
mom. So shout out to my mom again because
Word, shout out. Yeah, a lot of kids grow up like glued to the TV, especially your generation. I mean, our generation too, but I know my father used to kick me out of the house. He was like, no, you're not playing video games. You're not getting stuck on a TV. Go outside.
yeah, my mom did the same thing. I had no TV, but one thing I did have was hip hop. So I had like a lot of like I could go train with like DJs and I learned how to DJ. I used to screen print. I learned how to screen print when I was a kid, and
Um,
with acting, I had like my mom bought me like a bunch of costumes I could like play with. So there's a lot of stuff like that. So I do art like almost all the time. Like art is everything, and I'm a fan of art too, a fan of other people's art as well. But yeah, my goal is the same thing, just to do art, to be able to like do that for a living and share with other people and meet other people. But yeah,
how
Emma.
how's your daily routine? Um, like what are the things that you do to take care of yourself? And thank y'all, by the way, for all the questions, everybody.
Oh yeah, so my daily routine. Honestly, I don't necessarily have a routine. Like exactly physically, but one routine I do a lot is when I wake up, you know, I get ready. I do my skincare routine. That's the routine I do, is my skincare routine. And then I think overall, like, a lot of people journal, a lot of people like drink tea, read a book, do whatever. For me, I kind of go with that. Sometimes I'll journal first, sometimes I'll like read a book first, or like do whatever. I kind of just go with the flow, like whatever the day takes me. Um but for sure, I practice every day, knowing how to like flow. I think that's the main thing I do, is just flowing and physically, but also like training wise. But yeah, I don't know if that makes sense, but I tried. But yeah, I don't really have a routine, but always check in on yourself. I will say that. I always talk and check in and how I'm feeling, and acknowledge how I feel that day and kind of just go about that.
Hmm. Yeah, I've definitely learned that everybody holds stress in different parts of their bodies.
Yeah,
So it's good to that check-in to be like, where am I, stiff? Where am I holding energy? Like for me, it's my stomach. I know that if I'm tightening my stomach throughout the day and I stop for a second, I'm like, oh damn, I gotta breathe. And I release and I'm like, okay, I have to sit here for a little bit and take some deep breaths. I know that I'm stressing about something. So yeah, everybody's got to find out like what that is. Some people it's your shoulders, your neck, your back.
yeah. I think it's for me. I think it's like my heart. I have a lot. I think it's just because I
All right.
care so much. So it's kind of like sometimes it gets heavy. You know.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think honestly, with other stuff, I think I just like also drink water. I think that's one thing too. Is stay hydrated, folks.
Stay hydrated, girl, especially in this heat.
Mhm.
All right.
Um,
Um, if anybody has any other questions, type now or forever hold your peace. All
for real.
right. I'll give them a few more seconds. But thank you for joining us, Pebblz,
No, of
on the
course.
Beagle History. What's your favorite food?
Okay.
It's
This is
okay.
definitely a San Diego thing to say, but carne asada fries. So yeah, if you
What
don't
was
know what
it? A side of
that's,
fries?
yeah, carne asada fries. Carne asada
Oh, canisado. Okay, nice.
fries.
All right, y'all. Thank everybody for joining, for tuning in, for saying what's up, for putting in some uh, questions and comments in the chat, and for just checking in. Thanks, Pebblz, for joining us. It was dope.
You.
We're gonna sign off. Stay
What's my
cool. Oh, one more. What's
thing?
your favorite quote?
Um,
Ooh.
I'll say this: alienness, smoke everybody. I think that's honestly the most favorite thing I've ever heard all my life. I have his book, and I literally just remember that. And he also wrote it to me and signed it. So smoke everybody, do that, and have fun, love others, love yourself,
Breathe. Drink water.
drink water, drink water, drink water. So yeah, thank you so much, Mantis. Love you, and I can't wait to go to New York.
Yeah, we'll see each other soon, for sure. All right. Peace.